You are an adult living in the modern world. You know how electricity works, you know how locks work, and you know that monsters do not exist. But if you go down to your basement at midnight to get something, and you flip off the light switch at the bottom of the stairs, what do? You walk up those stairs just a little bit faster than you walk down them. You don't look back into the dark. And as soon as you cross the threshold into your lit bedroom, the feeling instantly vanishes. We all do this. Almost every human child goes through a phase of being absolutely terrified of the dark. And many adults, if they are completely honest, still feel a primal unease when thrust into total inescapable darkness. We treat this as a psychological flaw, a childish imagination running wild. But evolution does not mass-produce psychological flaws. If the entire human species shares a specific, deeply wired fear, it is because, at some point in our history, that fear kept us alive. To understand why you are afraid of the dark, you have to look at the biological cost of fear. Fear is not a free emotion. It is incredibly expensive. When you feel afraid, your brain floods your body with adrenaline and cortisol, your heart rate spikes, your breathing shallows, and your muscles tense up ready to sprint or fight. This state burns a massive amount of calories. In the prehistoric world, calories were hard to get and easy to lose. If an animal wastes energy being terrified of things that don't actually exist, it starves to death, and its genes are removed from the gene pool. Natural selection aggressively deletes useless fears, so if the fear of the dark survived 2 million years of brutal evolutionary filtering, if it is still baked into the hardware of modern humans living in high-rise apartments, it means the fear of the dark was not a mistake. It means the darkness used to be lethal for most of our history. Humans were not the top of the food chain. We are relatively slow. We have no armor, no venom, no fangs, and no claws. In the daylight, we survived by grouping together, using tools, and throwing projectiles. But when the sun went down, the rules of the savannah changed entirely. Early hominids were hunted by a terrifying roster of predators. There were massive prehistoric eagles that hunted our children from the sky. There were giant snakes that could swallow a human whole. But the most dangerous threat came from the big cats, specifically animals like Dinophilus, often called the false saber-tooth. It was a massive, stealthy feline predator about the size of a modern jaguar. And paleontologists have found primate skulls, our ancestors' skulls, with bite marks that perfectly match the fangs of Dinophilus. They specialized in hunting primates, and they hunted at night. Then there were the giant cave hyenas. They weighed up to 280 pounds and hunted in packs in the pitch black. To them, a sleeping human wasn't a rival. It was a slow, soft, easy meal. We didn't invent monsters in the dark. We survived them. The reason the night was so deadly comes down to eye anatomy. Human eyes are evolutionary marvels for daylight. We have incredible color vision, which helped us spot ripe fruit and track prey across the bright savanna. But there is a biological trade-off. In order to pack our eyes with the cells needed for sharp daytime color, we lost our night vision. Most nocturnal predators have a layer of tissue in their eyes called the tapetum lucidum. It acts like a mirror reflecting light back through the retina a second time, doubling their ability to see in the dark. It's the reason a cat or a dog's eyes glow when you shine a flashlight at them. Humans do not have this, which means when the sun went down, early humans were essentially blind, while the predators around them could see perfectly. We were trapped in an environment where our primary sense was disabled, and our predator's primary sense was activated. That is the definition of terror, so the brain adapted. Since it couldn't see the danger, it decided to assume danger was everywhere. This brings us to a psychological phenomenon called the hyperactive agency detection device, or HAD. It is the mechanism that explains why you get scared in your own house. Imagine an ancient human walking through the dark woods. They hear a twig snap in the bushes. The brain instantly has to make a calculation. Option A, the snap was just the wind. Option B, the snap was a leopard getting ready to pounce. If the brain guesses option A, the wind, and it's actually a leopard, the human dies. But if the brain guesses option B, a leopard, and it's actually just the wind, the human burns a little bit of adrenaline, runs away, and lives to see another day. Evolution heavily favors the false positive. It is much safer to assume a rock is a bear than to assume a bear is a rock. Over millions of years, our brains became hyper-tuned to detect agency or hidden intent in ambiguous shapes and sounds, which is why human beings experience pareidolia. Our brains are so desperate to find faces and threats in the dark that they will literally invent them out of nothing. This is why the pile of clothes on the chair in your bedroom looks like a demon at 2 a.m. In the daylight, your sharp color vision tells you it's just laundry. But in the dark, your color vision shuts down. Your brain only receives a vague, ambiguous shape. So the hyperactive agency detection device kicks in. It fills in the blanks with the worst-case scenario. It takes the lumpy shape of a shirt and projects the ancient memory of a crouching predator onto it. Look at the monsters that humans invent across cultures. The bogeyman, the Wendigo demons, ghouls, no matter where they come from. They almost always have the exact same physical traits. Massive forward-facing eyes to see in the dark, huge jaws with sharp teeth, long claws, and they hide in the shadows waiting to ambush you. We didn't invent these traits creatively. We were just drawing a composite sketch of the animals that used to eat us. So how did we survive if we were blind, slow, and constantly hunted? We changed the boundaries of the night. Around 1 million years ago, human ancestors tamed fire. Fire was the ultimate technological equalizer. It provided warmth and allowed us to cook food. But most importantly, it created a safe zone. Predators, including the massive cats and hyenas, are naturally terrified of fire. As long as you stayed within the ring of light, the monsters could not touch you. But this created a profound psychological divide that still exists in your brain today. Light equals the tribes, safety, visibility, and life. The dark just beyond the firelight equals isolation, blindness, and death. If a child wandered out of the firelight to go to the bathroom in the prehistoric dark, they were incredibly likely to never come back. So children who were naturally, irrationally terrified of the dark stayed close to the fire. They survived, they grew up, and they became your ancestors. The fear of the dark is literally the reason you exist. Today, the prehistoric predators are mostly gone. Dinophilus is extinct. The giant cave hyena is extinct. We concrete over the forests, we light up our cities, and we lock our doors. The physical threat is gone, but evolution moves much slower than human engineering. Your body is still running the software of an Ice Age prey animal. It doesn't know what a light switch is, it just knows that when the light vanishes, the protection of the campfire is gone. So the next time you turn off the basement light and feel that sudden urge to sprint up the stairs, don't feel childish. Don't feel embarrassed. Recognize what your body is doing for you. Your brain is firing up a 2 million-year-old security system. It is flooding your legs with energy. It is scanning the shadows for the predators that hunted your ancestors. It is doing absolutely everything in its power to make sure you survive the night. You aren't afraid of nothing. You are just remembering. End card.